Hey everyone, Andor Season 2, Episodes 10, 11, and 12 bring us to the end of one of the most thoughtfully crafted arcs in all of Star Wars. It's a season finale that doesn't just close out a chapter, it kind of rewires how we think about rebellion and sacrifice and what it takes to light that spark that lasts beyond the people who originally lit it. So the question is, how did they pull this off? Because let's be honest, most Star Wars shows range from underwhelming lately to decently good, but few are truly remarkable. Andor stands out because it doesn't try to be flashy. It focuses on story. It leans into tension and character and moral weight. And in the final three episodes of season two, it had a mountain to climb. Episodes 7 through 9 were amazing, hitting every emotional button, every character thread, and every piece of world building. And they just pulled us deeper into this gritty, realistic rebellion. But they also left a lot hanging for those final three episodes to cover. There were strings that really needed to be tied off, cut, or just pulled tighter. And the show had just three episodes to do it, so not a lot of time. While it doesn't rush, it carried urgency. If you love spy thrillers and cat and mouse games layered with emotional complexity, these final episodes, they deliver. They take their time, not because they're slow, but because they are deliberate. The writers respect the audience enough to trust that we're watching for the payoff. We're paying attention. We're not watching just for the spectacle of this environment. We are watching because we want to see that payoff. And payoff really starts with Luthen. He remains one of the most fascinating characters in this entire series. And he finally gets the kind of resolution that feels earned. From the very beginning, he was the architect of this rebellion, the one person willing to burn his life for a future he'd never lived to see. And he knew that. That it's such a quiet, brutal speech that he gave in season one about sacrificing everything. And it really does resonate in these final few episodes. In fact, they really do embody that idea. He's still moving in the shadows on Coruscant, still hiding in plain sight, and still carrying the weight of every connection he has built and every choice he has made. But Deidre, she's on to him. She's piecing things together, she's following the clues, and she's kind of got this ruthless intelligence that makes her literally one of the most compelling Imperials that we've ever seen. What's so great about this game, this tension that they pulled together, is that everyone is competent. Deidre isn't just blindly chasing ghosts. She's sharp, she's calculating, and she's real dangerous. She doesn't underestimate Luthen at all, and that's what makes her terrifying. She's also underestimated, though, and undermined by her own peers inside the ISB who don't fully grasp how effective or how threatening she really is to the rebellion. You can feel the political knives that are out, and they are coming after her as she tries to deliver the rebellion on a silver platter. Luthen feels those walls just closing in, and he starts making moves to disappear, like burning equipment, laying traps, and cutting ties. Then Lonnie shows up with intel about the Death Star. Not just rumors, but the name, the purpose, and the full weight of what that new weapon means. Luthen doesn't hesitate. He knows that he has got to do something. He knows what's got to be done. That ruthless streak that we saw in the earlier series, it is back. And it's not out of cruelty, though. It's out of necessity. That's one of the things that I love about Andor. It doesn't romanticize rebellion. It shows you the ugly side, the hard calls, and the people who don't get statues for what they contribute. Just when Luthen seems cornered, Deidre stops him. She doesn't want him dead. She wants him very much alive so she can extract every ounce of intel that he has. And when he's nearly beaten her to the punch, it shows just how much or how far he's willing to go to protect the rebellion, even if it means he'll never live to join it. And if he loses in this moment and he actually does live, then the rebellion is at risk of losing everything. While all eyes are on Luthen and Deidre, nobody's actually watching Kleya. She's been this steady force since the beginning, reliable and professional, and nearly unreadable. In these final episodes, she finally gets the spotlight and she uses it to remind us that she is not just Luthen's assistant. She's one of the best operatives in this game. Her infiltration of the hospital is tense, but not flashy. She doesn't storm in with gadgets or create some over the top distraction. She slips in kind of like a shadow. And in that way, the show kind of takes its time deliberately walking us through every step of her plan. Every beat of it is quiet and controlled and logical. Andor could have sped through these scenes to just ramp up the action, but it trades speed for emotional payoff because we got so much action in those last few episodes. This is the time to pull it all together. In this way, Luthen really does earn this quiet, dignified death that he deserved. The Empire, it isn't incompetent here. They are doing everything they should be doing. They are doing everything right. But the thing is, Kleya, she is just better. She is better at this game than they are. Then there are the flashbacks. We see how she and Luthen met. We see her loyalty, where it comes from. And it's not just to him, it's to the cause. It adds a whole new layer to her. This is about shared sacrifice. And we see the deep connection between them. It's not romantic. It is bonded through trust, through these shared secrets that they have together, and the burden of building something that really could fall apart at any moment. When Kleya finally sends the signal out, she doesn't just panic. She doesn't just fall apart. She acts. The signal is picked up by Wilman, who's kept this receiver hidden and fully charged under his bed for years, just in case. That small, almost forgotten device says everything about how deep Luthen's network runs. So when Wilman sees the signal, he doesn't just question it and wonder what's going on. He brings it straight to Cassian. They know exactly who it's from and what it means. He's got to go, and he knows it's probably a suicide mission, but Cassian won't let Luthen die alone, no matter what's happened between them. Not after everything that Luthen gave to make the rebellion real. That's the heart of these episodes. It's not about lightsabers or dogfights or anything like that. It's about loyalty. It's about people who keep showing up for each other, even when the galaxy has nothing left for them. On Coruscant, Kleya tells Cassian about the weapon. It has a name, the Death Star. It's a planet killer built under the false banner of the New Energy Initiative. It's connected to everything from the minerals on Gorman to the plundering of Kyber crystals on Jedha and the tightening Imperial grip across the galaxy. It all comes together. But just as they're making their move, Kleya makes a very small mistake by leaving her transmitter on to answer the door when Cassian calls. It's the kind of error you wouldn't expect from someone who is so careful. And yet, in that moment, it feels entirely human because she is desperate and she's actually pretty scared at this point. And she just lost her best friend, the foundation, the person who kind of helped to make her into the person she is today. So when Cassian realizes they've been found out, it's actually Kay, the droid that he kind of rescued in one of the earlier episodes, who comes to the rescue. And it's honestly one of the best scenes in the episode when the droid kind of disobeys Cassian's order to stay on the ship. It gets off, it sees the problem, it walks through these various stormtroopers and ISB points, and he just basically clears a path for Cassian and Kleya to escape. It is such a K moment, such a K moment. They make it out, but just barely, and return to Yavin where things get political real fast. Cassian is reprimanded for going rogue. Bail Organa and the others don't like his methods, and they definitely don't like that he's brought back intel that might expose them to risk. However, Mon Mothma listens because she knows Luthen and she trusts him. She's seen the pieces falling into place all along, but it's still hard to take the risk. They get a call from a pilot on Jeddah, and it's a little coincidental how it all comes together, but that's how these things actually are kind of built in real life where things just happen and moments collide and events coincide. And that's really what happens here when they get that call from the pilot saying that there's a weapon and he's only going to talk to Cassian. So if they want to know more, Cassian's got to come. What Andor does exceptionally well in the finale is something that so many prequels or sequels fail to do. It connects seamlessly to the storylines within Rogue One. And in that way, it really feels natural. There are no odd tone shifts, no last minute add ons, no directorial changes to the storylines to put his own stamp on Andor in a way that would undermine Rogue One's story in order to make it his own or make it better. Tony Gilroy deserves a lot of credit for this. He didn't let ego lead. Instead, he looked at Rogue One, saw what it needed to be, saw what had to be done in Andor for the film to hit as hard as it does when we watch that film. And then he reverse engineered a story that built toward it with absolute care in the crafting. The result is that the final scenes of Andor don't just blend into Rogue One, they amplify it. It's as if they were intended to work together all along. And quietly in the background, Tony Gilroy also weaves in the Force. It is so subtle. It is so subtle. It's not a dominant power, but just kind of this light presence. There's no Jedi to save the day here, but the Force is still a part of the world. We see the Kyber crystal's mind in secret. We meet a Force healer, and we see Saul Guerrera fighting the Empire on Jeddah, where Force sensitives guard a temple. We feel something bigger is moving beneath the surface. Even if it's not fully understood by the characters, we see it. And that's what's important here. And then we get to the final emotional note of the series. And it's that scene with Bix standing in the wheat field holding a little child. And in that single image, the show delivers a message that I absolutely loved. Throughout the season, I'd been quietly hoping that Cassian and Bix would have a child, someone to carry on his legacy. It redefines the ending of Rogue One, that one scene with that little child, because now when we watch that final scene in Rogue One, I don't just see a man giving up his life. I see a father giving a child hope, his child, and a child that he'll never see. There's only one real critique that I have about Andor season 2, and it's still the same old thing. The pacing in the early episodes. The first 3 were really slow and could have been condensed. It's just the one area where the series stumbles just a little bit, but everything they put in there does feed out to the rest of the series. That said, once the story locks in, it locks in every character, every subplot, every moral dilemma pays off. And the finale proves that none of that setup was really wasted. Even the slow burn served a purpose because it helped to build depth for the characters and the show. Tony Gilroy, he didn't just write a good show. He delivered a season and a finale that are full of restraint, of world building techniques, and character development. Honestly, I mean, Disney should be taking note right here. Honestly, every creative team working on a Disney IP right now should be studying what Tony Gilroy did, because this is what happens when you put the story above the spectacle. When you let logic, emotion, and earned consequences drive the plot, not ego of the editors or the writers or the directors or the executives. This is what happens when you don't let franchise mandates rule the story. You let the story rule the season and the series. So here's my recommendation. If you've been waiting to watch Andor season 2 until it wrapped, this is your moment. It's safe to watch and then go straight into Rogue One. It's one of the most satisfying narrative arcs you're going to find in the entire Star Wars universe. If you've never watched Andor at all, I say start now. It's not flashy or full of fan service, but it is brilliantly told fiction. I rewatched Rogue One right after finishing the season, and I gotta say, the biggest missed opportunity for Disney was not putting Rogue One back in theaters right now, this week, because this story deserves that kind of spotlight as the true finale of the series. They work together so beautifully well. So let me know, was this enough to get you to finally check out Andor or to rewatch Rogue One with new eyes? What do you think about Cassian's legacy, about Kleya's story, about Luthen's sacrifice, and what does it do to that final moment on the beach in Rogue One, knowing Cassian had a child that he's not going to see? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think and what you felt when you were watching it. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Please do give this review a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with a friend if you think it'd help. And while you're here, why not check out one of these other reviews? I'll see y'all again soon. Until then, happy viewing. Bye, everybody.